Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Morristown area, Montclair area, and Livingston, the Montclair County branch of the NAACP, the Morris County Chamber of Commerce, AAPI New Jersey Hills Media Group, and Montclair Local, I am pleased to welcome you to our candidates debate for the June 2024 Republican primary with candidates Rafat Bassoum, Joseph Bolnome, and John F. Sawers. My name is Nishna McCullough. I am the president and founder of the student chapter of the League of Women Voters of Livingston. The League of Women Voters' mission is to defend democracy and empower voters. We are a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We envision a democracy where everyone has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. Elections and voting are core concerns. We are committed to providing fact-based information about issues and the positions candidates take on those issues to help voters make their own decision and participate in the electoral process. The League is a nonpartisan organization which never supports or opposes political parties or candidates. Membership in the League is open to people 16 years and older of all gender identities. You do not need to be a member to volunteer, and we gladly welcome your help. I'd like to welcome our co-sponsors for this debate. First, we have Vanessa Brown. Vanessa Brown is the third vice president of the New Jersey NAACP State Conference, president of the NAACP Morris County branch, the North New Jersey branch president's coordinator. Vanessa?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's gubernatorial debate. This is a wonderful opportunity for all of you to zone in. The NAACP is about 115 years old. We're the oldest civil rights organization, and we strive for equality. Our mission is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing the policies and practices that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, education, and economic security of Black people and all persons of colors. So please take a look at our national website at naacp.org and become a member, and we can do this together. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Vanessa. Next, we have Megan Huncher. Megan Huncher is president and CEO of the Morris County Chamber of Commerce. Megan?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Megan Hunter, President and CEO of the Morris County Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corporation. The Chamber welcomes you to this evening's debate. At the Chamber, we connect businesses with each other and the resources they need to succeed. And I'd like to thank the candidates for their participation, the League of Women Voters, and the chairs of our Government Affairs Forum at the Chamber. Morris County is truly a special place. It has a $69 billion gross regional product with a diversity of industries, including aerospace and defense, life science and pharmaceuticals, financial services, healthcare, and manufacturing. Morris County is home to 4 colleges and universities, 28,000 businesses, and 800 headquarters, which are located here. With the most preserved open space in the state and walkable communities, award-winning schools, unique stores and restaurants, an airport with customs, Morris County is an ideal place to live, work, and visit, and you can learn more by visiting our guides on the Morris County Chamber or Morris County EDC website. Thank you again for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Megan. Next, we have AAPI New Jersey. AAPI New Jersey is a 501c3 nonprofit representing Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and families across New Jersey. Their mission is to create a more inclusive community by uplifting the varied experiences of AAPI, advocating for AAPI rights and representation, and promoting awareness and education around AAPI culture and history. Next, we have New Jersey Hills Media Group. New Jersey Hills Media Group is a family of 14 local, independently owned newspapers providing fair and thorough news coverage in Morris, Somerset, Essex, and Hunterdon counties. The group converted to nonprofit status in 2022 under its new parent company, the Corporation for New Jersey Local Media, and will continue to provide responsible local journalism, expand their coverage, serve as watchdogs on local government, and keep their readers informed on the day-to-day lives of the 50 municipalities they serve. Next, we have Montclair Local. Montclair Local is an independent nonprofit local news organization founded in 2017 with a mission to spark dialogue, objectively inform, and build community in Montclair, and goal to strengthen our hometown through independent, in-depth, factual reporting on issues and events that affect the people of Montclair. The League is grateful to our co-sponsors for their support and look forward to continuing our work together. This debate is being live streamed on the Morristown Area League's YouTube channel and will be available there for viewing afterward. We encourage you to share the link to the entire recording. But please do not edit or make public any excerpts. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator this evening, Lisa Winkler. Lisa is a league-trained moderator who is not from this voting district. She will introduce the candidates and outline the format for this evening.
Thank you, Nishna. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lisa Winkler, and a resident of Summit and a member of the State League. I'm honored to moderate today's forum for the Republican primary candidates for Congressional District 11. As Nishna said, I need to say this bit about the League of Women Voters owns the forum. The content recording can only be viewed on the Morristown Area League YouTube channel and website and the League of Women Voters New Jersey website. We encourage you to share the link, but remind you recording can only be shared in its entirety, cannot be downloaded, and footage may not be edited in any way. The league name, logo, recording, or materials from this event cannot be used in a way that could lead a viewer or reader to infer league support or opposition to a candidate or party. The format for the forum will be as follows. I will ask the questions that have been submitted and edited for clarity and repetition by the sponsors. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening statements, have 1 minute to answer each question, and 1.5 minutes for closing statements. Please pay attention to the timer and stop when she indicates the time has ended. We will begin by opening statements alphabetically and then move into the questions. We will begin opening statements with Dr. Barsoom, then Mr. Bellonome, and then Mr. Sowers. And then I will announce the order for each question before the answering for each question before the question is asked. So go ahead, Dr. Barsoom.
Hello, how are you? My name is Dr. Rafat Barsoom. I am Christian. I am emergency trauma doctor. I was born and raised in Egypt, and I was working as a physician, and also I was working in the field of social and health development for the United Nations Development Program. I had to leave Egypt in a rush because of a problem with the Muslim Brotherhood, and I came in here to America. I came with $200. Me, my wife, and my daughter, we lived through poverty, and we built ourselves brick by brick. I finished my medical education here, and I did trauma and general surgery at Montefiore Hospital. I also worked for years in Kings County Hospital in Brooklyn, and I lived the horror of drugs and the consequence of opening the border. I also have the experience through living in the third world country to tell you that our country now is not going the right way. So I will fight for what's right. So please help me.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, Morris County Chamber of Commerce, NAACP of Morris County, New Jersey AAPI, and the media partners, New Jersey Hills and Montclair Local, and hosting us tonight. I'm Jersey Joe Belnome from Belleville, New Jersey, where I serve as a property maintenance inspector. As a former bricklayer, I've learned from the ground up what it takes to build something lasting with integrity. That's exactly what I plan to bring to our government. Last year, I entered the political arena and won as a write-in candidate for state senate, where despite the odds, I secured nearly 50% of the Republican vote, while my progressive opponent secured a mere 22% of Democrats in our legislative district. This year, I'm a clear favorite to win the primary on June 4th. I've earned the endorsements of all 3 county committees, successfully navigating through their conventions and rigorous screening processes. Meanwhile, my primary challengers have not shown the same level of engagement or visibility, neither raising funds nor capturing media attention. Tonight, I sit before you deeply committed to President Trump's vision and policies, aiming to uphold our Constitution, secure our borders, and bring back American jobs. We need to control spending, protect our children, and ensure our communities are safe. Moreover, we must restore law and order, secure fair trade deals, and ensure that our water we drink and the food we eat are safe. Under my leadership, we will cut taxes, streamline regulations, and pursue an independent, strong foreign policy. As the only candidate in this race that our incumbent opponent acknowledges and actively attacks, makes me literally front page news. I am ready to take this fight to the next level. With your support, we can restore strength and integrity in our government and truly make America great again. Thank you for your support, and vote Jersey Joe Belnome for Congress on June 4th.
As for last, my name is John Sowers, 27 years old. I'm the only candidate in this race that's actually from the district and actually cares about the community. Though like my opponent, he won the county lines through mob rule. I'm actually care about my community and I actually support my community. As I have my master's in forensic accounting from Montclair State University with an undergrad of accounting from William Patterson University. So out of the 3 of us, I have the best understanding of how to balance a budget, lower taxes, and make sure that we can secure our country in a heartbeat. I was getting sick and tired of all the same BS that was happening in Congress, the same old congressional people going in year after year doing the same thing over and over again and saying the same lovely lies to get people across the border. And as a constituent of my district, I stand with my community. I'm pushing to close the border, working with mayors across the country and the state to begin the deportation process of the illegal immigrants that are here currently, and work with my expertise in both accounting, taxes, and foreign policy to begin the lowering of taxes and cutting of the bloat spending across the country, across the world. We do not need to be spending $80 billion to Pakistan or $220 to Jordan. We can be using that money here, and I can easily do that here. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to the first question. The order will be Mr. Belnome, Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom. The first question is, do you believe there was widespread fraud during the 2022 election and that Joe Biden was not legitimately elected?
I do believe there was fraud. There was allegations of fraud. There was evidence of fraud because what do you call it? When people make those statements, that's accepted as evidence, and the courts were not accepting the evidence. So, can I say for sure who if Biden won legitimately? It's hard to say if they won't hear the cases and see the evidence. So that's where we stand with that. But we need to restore integrity in our elections. Too many people right now don't trust our elections. So right now we need to use the methods that are in place as far as vote by mail and vote early and vote often. But once Republicans take back control of the House and all 3, the House, the Senate, and the White House, we need to change the rules to same day voting and vote in person and show ID, and you must be a legal citizen.
Was there fraud in the 2020 election? There was fraud in every election going back to the founding fathers. There's not much that we can do. Dead people vote in every election up to this point. Now, did Joe Biden win? Yes. He was a duly elected president and is the current sitting president of the United States. Was there issues? Yes. Were issues not correctly debated in the court system? Yes. But at that point is 2020. We're looking forward to 2024. The easiest way to solve this stuff is make sure we go out and vote in person. Don't vote by mail, because vote by mail is a major problem for fraud. We were seeing that throughout the Midwest with people just stealing ballots and putting them in and filling them out. But I would do advise, if you vote early, vote as much as you vote when you can, and make sure your vote counts every year. Thank you.
So for 2020 election, we have to remember that it was the COVID time, and most of the votes were vote by mail, and vote by mail opened a lot of doors for voter fraud. Fraud in elections has been going on for years. I personally experienced it in 2013 when I ran for a state senator, and I would be sitting in my car and the same person would go in and out for 15 to 20 times. So I think that vote by mail should include fingerprint on the ballot, should include voter ID, and this is how people will gain trust in the voting system again in America.
Thank you. The second question, the order will be Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom, and Mr. Belname. And the question is, how would you address the flooding in CD11?
Easily. Making sure that we don't have any issues with Army Corps of Engineers funding ever again. I know Mikey Sherrill has a problem every couple of years doing that. Easy. When I get in, we'll make sure that we make sure that that Army Corps of Engineer budget is front page every time, and we don't miss it in a single time. And if you need to deal with the Army Corps of Engineers for anything, for the dredging of the lakes, dredging of the rivers, or any of that stuff, you won't need to hope and pray and cross your fingers that, will we get the budget this year? Will the Republicans fight to make sure that we get it good? Easily. We can solve that tomorrow, and I'm shocked that no politician is currently doing that right now.
Flooding is part of the deteriorating infrastructure of America. And I believe the solution would be allocating all the money that we're giving to either Ukraine or foreign aids and try to solve our problems here. So in the Congress, I will make sure that there is enough federal fund for our infrastructure first before we send the money overseas.
I would make sure that there's a responsible development in the areas where flooding could be happening or it could cause flooding, and make sure that there's funding available for research on ways to stop the flooding. And it's not something that a lot of people have told me, complained about on the campaign trail, but I do know it is an issue. And having vegetation there that's for the area and trees, that would also help with the flooding.
Thank you. The order for the third question is back to the beginning. Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belnome, and Mr. Sowers. The question is, New Jersey is #1 in pending house foreclosures. What do you think should be done about it?
Having a house foreclosure right now is different from in the past. Right now, house foreclosure usually is because of losing jobs or because of urgent things that happen to the family. I believe that if we take care of the employment in our state and bring our factories back, bring our business back to the United States, instead of having all our factories outside the United States, will increase the employment and will make more people can afford to pay the mortgage for the houses.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an economy issue. So with inflation the way it is, with too much spending that we're doing around the world, we need to rein in spending in our Congress and bring back manufacturing by responsible trade deals that are America first in policy. And yeah, it's more of an economy question than a housing question. Thanks.
So I guess it's me now. So the easiest way to solve this problem is to force the state of New Jersey to stop passing these laws that destroy our country, our state. I know Governor Murphy just tried passing that law that if you have a certain amount of revenue that comes in from your business, you get taxed at an even higher rate, which is going to cause half our businesses in our state to even leave, let alone all of those workers are going to be out of a job because they're going to ship them overseas to a different country or ship them down south to a southern state that has more free rights. The easiest way to solve this housing crisis issue, stop with the illegal housing market, make sure that we don't have any illegal immigrants in these houses, and hold our cities accountable for these problems. We should be a community together. And the easiest way to do that is help your fellow citizen that's sitting next to you. You have issues, easiest way to do that, help them shovel their snow, help them mow their grass, go to your local church, feed out, help with the food banks. Stuff like that will help our community grow better than simple words.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. For the fourth question, the order will be Mr. Belname, Mr. Sowers, and Dr. Barsoom. The question regards the salt cap. Do you support the elimination of the cap on the salt as state and local tax deduction, and give your reasons? Why or why not?
Right. You know, it's funny because it's like these same questions have been asked in the past previous debates, and the same problems still exist. I support removing the cap on the salt tax. Overall, in the tax cut that the Trump administration placed, it did help this district. But as far as the salt, that needs to be reformed to remove that cap. So I do support that.
As for the salt tax, I think we should, like Belnum said, at least reform it. It should be a percentage base rather than a hard cap. If we have a percentage base, it will benefit more states better than others. I know it will benefit the state of New Jersey, New York, and California if we remove it. So we have to pay attention to that going forward. And hopefully when we get in, we'll debate and discuss with our fellow constituents and fellow members of Congress across the country to get this salt tax passed.
I not only agree with my other fellows here, but also I think that taxing a money that you pay as tax shouldn't be legal. This should be illegal. Because if you pay $30,000 or $15,000 in property taxes, and you can also deduct $10,000, so you have $5,000 that you paid as tax, and you also paying income tax on it. So this should be completely eliminated.
Okay, thank you. We'll begin the fifth question. Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom, and Mr. Belname. There is tremendous disparity in wealth throughout the country, especially in New Jersey. As a congressperson, what would you do to help alleviate the disparity?
I would tell people to start going to STEM fields, if not going to trade schools. Trade schools is the biggest thing. You know, out of all my friends, most of them are trade members, and they're making, ironically, more money than I am, making almost six-figure salary jobs just doing trade work, plumbing, electrical engineering, all that stuff. That will be a great benefit for it. And we need to bring back the manufacturer. I know in Rockaway, the last time we had weapons manufacturing in Rockaway was when we were building the cannonballs for the Revolutionary War. It's sad and despicable that we don't have weapon manufacturing in Northern Jersey anymore. We need to bring that back, and even bring back Glock, or bring in another company like Heckler and Koch or Colt or IWI. Allowing these companies to grow in our Northern Jersey area will be a great benefit to us and allow for better people to get better jobs.
I think the wealth difference between a minority that they are super rich and a majority that are poor is a result of political corruption. Why? Because once you increase taxes, only the middle class, the hardworking taxpayers are the one who pay taxes. The people who are not working, they don't pay taxes. And super rich, they don't pay taxes. Their taxes are mainly very minimal because most of their income goes to shares into their own company. So I think we need to review all the tax brackets, all the tax laws to relieve the pressure on the eroding middle class, hardworking taxpayers.
Well, what I wouldn't do is create another social program to equal things out. We live in a capitalist society. The big problem is with inflation. Inflation is a tax. It's a big tax. So if you want everybody to be equal, you have to level the playing field with tax and make things more affordable. And when you have an America First agenda, you're bringing jobs back to America. People are making more money. And with this capitalist society, we're all going to succeed.
Okay, thank you. The next question, back to the beginning, Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belname, and Mr. Sowers. What obligation does the federal government have towards asylum seekers?
I am a person who came in here seeking asylum, but I came in here legally. I came through JF Kennedy Airport. The obligation should be you offer jobs, you don't give free money. You screen the person. The person should come in a legal manner, not illegally jumping over the border. You don't even know their names. Offer them the future. Our country is still the land of dreams, but it will not continue to be like this for long if we continue doing what we're doing. Asylum seekers should be regulated, should come legally, should go through a process of identifying, background checking, and also we shouldn't give free money. I spend my life here, never took $1 from the government.
So I don't know if there's going to be another immigration question, but this isn't just about asylum seekers. You know, I'm the first generation in my family in this country. Both of my parents immigrated here legally, except one uncle. He jumped the ship, and I like to say he swam to America. My uncle Sonny picked him up at a port, but he was deported, and then he came back legally. So the problem is, yeah, asylum, but there's a process for that. You know, you have to come through a port of entry. You know, you need to be vetted, and the problem is the whole border is wide open. We have people crossing the border. They're known terrorists on terror watch lists. There's the cartels control the border. Women and children are being raped and they're being trafficked. And you know, it's cost in 2023, $66 billion has been spent on illegal aliens. You know, I support deporting everyone that's here illegally. You start with the criminals, have no incentives.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you.
The easiest way to define this, we need to define the word asylum seeker. A lot of these people are not asylum seekers. They are just welfare seeking. If they were seeking asylum, then they would go to their next safest country. And that is not America in most of these cases. In almost all these cases, there are safer countries all throughout Latin America that they could go to immediately. I have friends who are currently in Canada right now who are planning to seek asylum from Canada's horrific government to come to America because of their political persecution to own firearms and all that stuff. Yes, but the whole understanding of the asylum process is once your country is safe, you should be sent back. The whole point is to hold you until your country is safe. And that's what we should do. We should not be accepting everyone that's coming across the border illegally. And if you come here illegally, Trump's plan was the best. Remain in Mexico until your asylum seeker paperwork is processed. And then once then, you're allowed into our country. Till then, stay in Mexico. Go to your next safest country. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next question will begin, Mr. Sowers. Excuse me, Mr. Belname, Mr. Sowers, and Dr. Barsoom. If the recent bipartisan bill on immigration gets reintroduced in the House, would you support it? Why or why not?
I'm sorry, repeat the question. What recent
The
bipartisan bill?
recent bipartisan bill on immigration gets reintroduced in the House, would you support it? Why or why not?
Can you tell me what the recent bipartisan bill is?
I cannot comment about all that at this time. That is, well,
Well,
we can come back to the
you know,
question.
I'm very strong on the border, whatever the bill is. I find it hard to believe. There was a bipartisan bill to deport illegal aliens that are committing crimes, and Mikey Sherrill voted against that. So, you know, I find it hard to believe that any bipartisan bill referring to immigration is going to go forward, because the left wants to keep importing all these illegal aliens and probably having them vote in our next election. But you know, I'm very strong on the border and illegal immigration.
So the bipartisan bill that is presumably being talked about today is the bill that legalized illegal immigration. This was a bill proposed by the Democratic Party with some Republican Party members jumping ship and voting for it. As a Republican, as an American, and as a long descendant of immigrants who came from both Poland, Germany, and Lithuanian Commonwealth at that point, it's no, we cannot allow legalizing illegal immigration. That's what that bill was, and I stand and support House Bill 2. And that House bill is not being proposed because the Democrats will stand against it in every way, shape, or form, and that's the problem. We need to secure our borders, and that's the easiest way to do that. Support House Bill 2. But this bill that they tried to ram through the Congress was a failure, and it legalized illegal immigration to give the Democrat a win. Thank you.
I think this bill is step 2 of opening the border. Opening the border mainly started to bring millions of new voters and also affect the census and affect the congressional seats for the Democratic area to tip the scale towards Democrat. So I think this is a step 2. After they bring millions in, they make them legal to vote. I would completely oppose this bill.
Thank you. The next question will begin Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belname. If it becomes necessary to raise the debt limit in 2025, will you vote to do so? And the second part of that is, will you do so without preconditions such as reducing entitlement programs like Social Security?
So first off, I will not vote to raise the debt limit. Easiest way to solve that is cut the bloat spending to countries around the world. And on top of that, I will not cut funding to both Social Security or Medicare and Medicaid. We can get that money from the money that we send to Pakistan in the last omnibus bill, which was $80 billion to Pakistan for gender studies. Jordan had $220 billion given to them, not to mention the wasted spending in both Ukraine and around the world. If we rein in our spending, we won't need to raise the debt limit. If we start drilling again in America, we won't need to raise the debt limit. If we start bringing back manufacturing to Northern Jersey and America, we won't need to raise the debt limit. Why do we need to raise the debt limit when all the clear-cut answers are sitting right in front of us, and there's drilling in America?
I would 100% vote against raising the debt limit. Raising the debt limit is killing our countries. We have average of $100,000 for every man, woman, and child in America as debt. If we look at the national debt that we have now, we need to cut the reckless spending of the government. We need to cut the amount of money that we're sending overseas, wars that we have nothing to do overseas. We cannot get any more debt. The interest for the debt that we have, we cannot afford to pay. So we need to bring our manufacturing back. We need to stop the reckless spending, and we need to stop sending money to other countries that they are useless. Thank you.
All right, so I would not vote to increase the budget. One of my things for my campaign is rein in spending. I pledge to enforce. Listen, drill, baby, drill. and it's America first. There is a lot of money to be made here. We have to cut the spending to other countries. We're spending billions of dollars. The last bill that was like $100 billion to Ukraine and around the world, before they even got a chance to spend it, they were talking about $1 trillion 10-year spending bill. That's where you got to make the cuts, and you won't have to raise the debt limit. Now, as far as Social Security and Medicare, I would never vote to make people lose those payments. But there could be reforms where no one loses payments, and at 18, when they could start having a savings account, and it will be their own money by the time they retire. And it would probably take about 20 to 30 years to transition this, where no one ever loses a payment. That's a policy I'm working on. Thank you.
Next question would be Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belname, Mr. Sowers. Are you for or against a federal ban on abortion?
Okay, this question now I don't think it's related because now it's a state-to-state decision. So I don't think we will be handling this issue in the Congress anymore. Thank you.
So I'm against the federal ban. Donald Trump is against the federal ban. In New Jersey, although I do not like the laws the way they are, there's like no limit to getting an abortion. I accept the Supreme Court's decision to leave it up to the state legislature and the constituents' beliefs and to create laws in their states. Thank you.
As Rafat stated, it's a state's issue. And at this point, I know Mikey Sherrill has been in Congress for 6 years at this point. She has not voted or proposed a bill on any of this whatsoever. So the blame lies at her feet. And at this point going forward, it's a state's issue. And we are not running for state Congress. We're running for federal Congress. And if we want to have this question asked at a state debate, then I'm all for it. But as of right now, this is a state's issue. So there's no point for this question. Thank you.
Okay, next question. We'll start with Mr. Belname, Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom. Do you support continuing to supply arms to Ukraine and Israel?
So the real question is, why did Russia go into Ukraine? You know, so it's because of Biden's failed policies and funding. His policies are funding our enemies like Iran and China, or, you know, worrying about going into Taiwan and Russia. Because if you have an America First agenda with oil and drilling and producing, making America energy independent and energy dominant, those countries will not invade those other countries. Now with Israel, I would propose loaning them the money. And the difference between Israel and Ukraine, Israel can win that war. Ukraine can't. So I do not want to. There needs to be talks of peace. We keep sending money there without any plan to complete that war. When Israel, it's almost like we're stopping them from completing it. So that's where I stand on that.
As for Israel, Israel is our biggest ally in the region. Supporting them and supplying them is our biggest concern. We should be selling them the weapons rather than giving them the weapons. It's the same thing with Ukraine. If we are going to give them weapons, we should be selling them. We should be making money off of this. For the Ukraine war, easiest way to solve that, and I can do this in 2 minutes, itemized list of what you need to win the war. If you can do that, we can win the war tomorrow. But they don't want to do that because they just want to keep writing that blank check every year. And if they do not give me an itemized list of what they need to win the war and an itemized list of how they spent every penny that we gave them over the last 2 years, then there is no point to continue spending a single cent on a blank check that we know is going to be sent for garbage. Because we just saw in reports that the Kharkiv defense just magically disappeared because the money was money laundered to a failure of a company. So as of right now, Ukraine, we need checks and balances. Israel, they're our biggest ally, so I will support Israel.
Two different issues. Ukraine is different from Israel. Ukraine, the war on Ukraine is a losing war to start, and providing weapons or money just prolong the situation. It will not solve it, because the war in Ukraine is a losing battle and it's meaningless. And I believe if President Trump was the president right now, the war in Ukraine would never happen. Israel, of course, Israel is our allies. But I think to solve the problem in Israel, we should put all the pressure on Hamas, which is a terrorist organization controlling their own people with terrorism also. They terrorize their own people. They are dictators. We should put all the pressure for Hamas to lay down their arms, pay for their mistakes, and surrender. Thank you.
Next question, we will start with Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belname. What is your position on limiting access to guns?
As of right now, and I have it in front of me, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Almost every single law that is currently on the books is illegal and unconstitutional. I personally own firearms, and I implore every legal U.S. citizen to own firearms in the United States. It is for our defense, and we've seen time and time again when the government tries to take away our firearms. We have the Holodomor, we have the Holocaust, we have failures in China, we have failures in Russia, we have failures of all communist dictators around the world. When they take away our firearms, we are put on the wayside. Australia was the biggest example of this. They banned firearms, and then you were told you have two options. You either willingly get in the back of this truck, or we put you in the back of this truck and sent you to a concentration camp. And we have the same thing with the Uyghur Muslims in West Taiwan. We will not stand for this stuff, and gun rights is a legal and freedom-loving issue that we need to have. And as of right now, I will stand to repeal every gun law that is currently on the books, and we will have a debate about everything else.
First of all, I'm a gun owner and a gun collector. I think that the only thing that can prevent someone from owning a firearm if he is severely mentally disturbed. Otherwise, firearms not only protect your house or protect yourself, but is a deterrent to the tyranny of a government. When the government know that hundreds of thousands of people, they carry firearms in their houses, they will think twice before committing any tyranny acts. Thank you.
So 2A, our Constitution shall not be infringed. I am also a gun owner. I'm glad that John is a gun owner because I know there was a crazy guy following our campaigns and showed up at his door. So yeah, shall not be infringed, and that's my answer on that.
Okay, thank you. The next question, Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belname, and Mr. Sowers. Do you think the government is doing enough to help veterans? What other programs do you think are needed?
I don't think the government is doing enough to help veterans. VA hospitals are, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they are not very high quality hospitals. Second is the psychological support is missing to the veterans. I served in the Army for 2.5 years as a first lieutenant doctor. And I know the psychological pressure in the Army. And once you leave the service and you go back to the civilian life, it takes a lot to readjust. I think we need to do more. Also, we need to help veterans to secure good jobs because work is a solution of many problems, not only economically, but also psychologically. So I think we need to do more. Thank you.
America first and veterans first, that includes them. And right now, with the influx of illegal aliens, they're kicking veterans out of housing and putting illegal aliens in those housing. So all of the billions of dollars that we're spending in foreign countries, some of that can be, stop spending it over there and spend some of that on our veterans. We have to look out for them. They fought for our country. I love our veterans. Thank you.
As a grandson of a veteran who served with the Army as a chef, sadly, I miss my grandfather every day since he passed the COVID. I stand with the veterans. I'm sick and tired of seeing a single veteran die on this tree. Easiest way to solve this situation is offer the veterans good jobs. One of my proposals is offering veterans guards at schools. having a veteran there that can protect our children, our next generation, is the easiest way to give them money. Not to mention, I will support and I will propose legislation to make sure that no veteran will ever see the street ever again in my entire lifetime, by giving veterans who've served their time, who've served their 4 years, and who are honorably discharged, housing benefits for the rest of their life, and including their spouses, because we do not want to see a veteran on the street ever again in my lifetime. And I stand with the veterans, and for all the veterans that are here in America, thank you very much for your service. And for those who are Vietnam veterans, I know that people never said this back when you guys came home, but welcome home. And thank you guys for everything that you do. Thank you.
Okay, next question. We will begin with Mr. Belname, excuse me, Mr. Sowers and Dr. Barsoom. What are your thoughts on battling climate change?
Well, there's a lot of climate misinformation. So I don't think that there's always going to be climate change. We went through ice ages. You know, the climate always changes. I believe in clean water, fresh, clean air, and but a lot of these climate extremists, they don't want us to drill oil or use our natural resources and fossil fuels. And I just can't go along with that, because I don't, they're saying, oh, the water's rising. The beaches are not receding. There's erosion, but I don't see any water rising. So as long as you believe in having clean water and fresh and clean air, that's what I believe in. Thank you.
Easily holding our world's biggest polluters accountable. Both China and India are our world's #1 polluters. Why does America have to foot the bill for those countries? Easily, we could solve the pollution issue in the United States like that. Allow nuclear energy in this country again. We have not had issues in nuclear energy since at least the 3 Mile Island age. And since then, we have learned and fixed our mistakes over the time. One of my best friends is a nuclear engineer currently in the Navy, and they have not had an issue ever. I know the issues with Fukushima was due to God, and due to Chernobyl was due to failure of the Soviet communist engineering. The safest way to get clean and renewable and reliable energy is nuclear. And I will stand with getting more nuclear plants open up across the country rather than having them closed like New York is doing, costing millions of both energy spending and thousands of jobs lost. Thank you.
Okay.
I think the technology that we have now is not environmentally safe. Even electric cars, to manufacture batteries for electric cars, you have a lot of footprint. I totally agree that the climate has been changing for thousands of years. Otherwise, we would be sitting on 2,000 feet of ice in North America. The ice age is gone and the water melted, so we have climate change. We cannot pay and destroy our economy for the mistakes of other people. China has 1,200 coal-burning power stations. India, the majority, they don't have any natural gas, so they burn wood. I'm talking millions and millions of people, they burn wood to cook. If you go over Lahore or any major, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are on our last question. And then the closing statements. The last question, the order, Mr. Sowers, Dr. Barsoom, Mr. Belnome. New Jerseyans are concerned about the economy. Among their concerns are the high price of gas, housing, food, loss of retirement, and savings accounts. What solutions do you propose?
Easiest way to solve that issue is stop the government spending. If we stop government spending, our inflation will go down. I know me and my wife went from spending at least $50 to $70 a month, or a week actually, in grocery bills to almost triple that in 1 year of the failures of the inflation rate. Another way to solve that, gas prices I know have skyrocketed from $1.50 to almost $4 a gallon in the state of Jersey. That doesn't help with the gas tax that Murphy's been trying to pass and got passed. But if we start drilling here again in America and stop buying oil from Saudi Arabia, Russia, Venezuela, we can get the gas prices back down to $1, if not going back all the way to back when it was 50 cents a gallon decades ago, well before my time. If we can do that, people in our state will get better jobs, better lives, be able to have spending time with their family and money to spend on kids' games, toys, and video games is what one of my big concerns is. The video gaming community is something we need to push in Northern Jersey too. Thank you.
I think it all started with shutting down the pipelines and the huge increase in diesel fuel prices, because most of the goods in America, they are moved by trucks, and trucks use diesel. And moving building materials from Oregon and Washington State and Canada to our area here, the cost tripled. That's why to build a house now, you cannot build a single family house because the value of the house, the market value, will be less than the actual cost. Then the domino effect, all the food supply chain is running by trucks, truck trailers that runs by diesel. This all started with the diesel prices. I think if we start drilling here in America, become energy independent, this will at least start the process of reducing the prices in America, in New Jersey.
Yeah, the first thing we need to do is re-elect Donald J. Trump. And we're going to start with his policies of drill, baby, drill, making America energy dominant. And what that's going to do, and then rein in spending. All those things are going to reduce inflation. As Dr. Barsoon has said, these things are transported around the country. Those prices will come down, and then you're going to find groceries, the prices will come down as well, because a lot of those prices go up with the transportation fees. So that's what I would support. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, gentlemen. For closing statements, you have a minute and a half. We'll start with Mr. Sowers, Mr. Belnome, and Dr. Barsoom.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out to this debate. Thank you very much, Lisa, for the moderation for this debate, and thank you, everyone who's been here. As the only candidate in this race who's actually from the district, I please thank you to come out to vote for me. I know I'm the only candidate that can pull Democrat support from across the line, and I'm able to actually have a decent conversation with both members of the party, make sure that we can get what's best for our country and what's best for our district. And the easiest way to do that is vote red and vote me in for November. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for having me tonight. I'm Jersey Joe Belnome. I'm the only candidate here proudly endorsed by all three counties, showing that our party is united in its support for a leader who truly embodies the American first principles. I was the first and only candidate to officially endorse Donald Trump for president back in January, reaffirming my commitment to the policies that prioritize our nation's interests. I am not an establishment candidate, yet I've earned the respect of our party leaders by proving that I can be a team player. My approach has always been that we are stronger together, united as a party. In this race, I stand out not just for my endorsements or my policies, but because I am the only candidate who can appeal to all factions within our party and moderate Democrats as well. This year, Donald Trump is on the ballot. It's more crucial than ever we have candidates that truly represent a MAGA vision. My alignment with this movement positions me uniquely to benefit from and contribute to the wave of enthusiasm and support for Donald Trump, for President Trump. Sorry. As we look ahead, our focus must be on restoring integrity to our government. We need leaders who are committed not just to winning elections, but to upholding our values, protecting our rights, and ensuring that America remains strong, free, and prosperous. Thank you for your attention, your support, and your commitment to making a difference. Let's move forward together, united and strong, and win this June and November and beyond. Also, please visit votejerseyjoe.com. Thank you.
I thank you all for having me today. Thank you, Lisa. I will tell you that my only motivation to run for this election is my love my love to this country, and my belief that this country is the last castle. This country is the land of opportunities, and living and growing up in the third world country, I know that we will not have a good future if we continue doing what we're doing. I lived through oppression, I lived through political corruption, and I see this is spreading in our country. So I'm sounding the alarm, and I will fight for what's right. I will not follow a certain ideology of any party. I will be representing the American people, not the party. I will be the voice for all Americans here in New Jersey. And please visit my website, drbarsoomforcongress.com, and support me. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the sponsors, the Morris County Chamber of Commerce, the AAPI New Jersey, the Morris County branch of the NAACP, New Jersey Hills Media Group, and Montclair Local. Thank you to the candidates, our host, our
Thank you.
timer, and the volunteers who helped make this evening possible. Thank you for the audience for watching and choosing to be active participants in the democratic process. Remember to make your voice count in the New Jersey primary. There are 3 ways to vote: vote by mail, early in person, or on Election Day, Tuesday, June 4th. To learn more about voting, vote by mail, polling locations, and other voting information, please visit vote411.org or the LWVNJ, that's the League of Women Voters, New Jersey.org. Thank you again for